Okay, so let's talk about a moment that every firm in the UK's financial services sector dreads but needs to be ready for. It's that moment you get a query from the Financial Conduct Authority. Believe me, your first response is absolutely critical. It sets the tone for your entire regulatory relationship. So today, we're going to walk through a professional playbook for handling these crucial interactions. Now, this playbook comes from the specialists over at Compliance Consultant. You might actually know them by their well-known brand, the Compliance Doctor. And that's a name that's really become synonymous with diagnosing and, more importantly, solving some really complex regulatory issues. All right, picture this. An information request from the FCA lands in your inbox. This isn't just another email. It's a critical moment, and what you do next, well, it's everything. And I mean every single word in your response matters. When you're talking to your regulator, there is absolutely no room for ambiguity, no space for error. So this is the big question you've got to ask yourself. The way you handle this one query can literally set the tone for years and years of supervision. So, is your firm truly ready for that challenge? I mean, look at this. You're basically at a fork in the road. Get it right, and you show you're competent, you build confidence, and you shut the whole thing down efficiently. But get it wrong, and things can go south fast. It can escalate to a full-blown investigation. Your own words can be turned into admissions. And any missing evidence, that just raises huge red flags. The stakes are just incredibly high. In making a mistake right at this stage, well, it can be unbelievably costly. And we're not just talking about money here. First, let's look at the legal fees. If that initial response creates problems, you're suddenly looking at bringing in expensive lawyers for damage control. We're talking 300, 400, even 500 pounds an hour. And if the situation gets worse, the FCA might require what's called a Section 166 Skilled Persons Report. That's a super in-depth review of your firm by an independent expert, and it can easily cost your business over £50,000. That's a massive hit. But beyond the direct financial costs, there are all these other impacts. Suddenly, your management's time is totally sucked into firefighting. You're put under a microscope with extended supervision, and you're risking serious enforcement action and, of course, lasting damage to your reputation. You see, most firms just rely on instinct, maybe a bit of guesswork in these situations, but there is a much, much better way to handle this. It's all about responding with structure and with confidence. And that better way is the FCA Query Response Pack. Think of it as a complete toolkit that arms your firm with everything you need, the frameworks, the templates, the strategic guidance to handle these queries safely and professionally. So what's actually inside this toolkit? Let's pop the hood and take a look. At the very heart of it is this simple but really powerful methodology called the CLEAR framework. First, you clarify the question. Make sure you understand exactly what they're asking. Then you allocate the right evidence to back up your points. You explain the context, because data without context can be so misleading. You attach all your supporting documents, and then, this is critical, you review everything. Get a second pair of eyes on it before you hit send. It's a structured approach that just replaces that panicked reaction. So the pack itself is broken down into two main documents. On one hand, you've got the playbook, which is all your strategic guidance. And on the other, you get the practical, ready-to-use templates. The playbook is your strategic guide. It's got the CLEAR framework we just talked about, plus guidance on your tone of voice, what the FCA expects as evidence, how to avoid accidentally making admissions, and even an escalation checklist. It's packed with essential knowledge. Then you have Document B, which is all about practical application. You get these professionally drafted, totally editable templates that cover the most common things the FCA asks about: governance, your business model, risk management, AML controls, you name it. This is a huge time saver, and it seriously reduces risk. So you might be wondering, who put all this together? Well, this was all developed by Compliance Consultant. They're a specialist firm that has been deep in the trenches supporting UK-regulated firms for over 2 decades. Their work covers everything from getting FCA authorization in the first place to high-level governance reviews. I mean, just look at the experience here. The team has over 25 years of it, and the firm itself has been supporting regulated businesses for more than 20 years. That's a lot of expertise. And this really is the whole idea behind the Compliance Doctor brand. It's about taking all that hard-won frontline knowledge and distilling it down into practical resources that any firm can pick up and use immediately to protect itself. So, how can you get this toolkit for your own firm? Really, you should think of this as an essential investment in your regulatory peace of mind.
The entire pack, the playbook, all the templates, everything is just £249. Now, when you stack that up against a single hour of a lawyer's time or the potential £50,000 cost of a skilled person's report, the value is just crystal clear. And you get instant access to everything, all in an editable Word format. Honestly, this pack pretty much pays for itself the very first time it helps you avoid just one follow-up query from the regulator. Look, being prepared for a query from the regulator isn't just a nice to have, it's essential. So if you want to respond with confidence, here's how to get started. You can call Compliance Consultant, the home of the compliance doctor, or book a discovery call online. Having the right tools in place before you need them, that can make all the difference in the world.